What's up, guys? Hope everyone is doing well. This is a rather impromptu video, but given the light that has been shed on the presidential election within America recently, I thought it would be rather appropriate to put something out with respect to it, and also because as you can see here with Bitcoin on the 6-hour chart that I've been going over recently, not only is it up around 13%, as you can see here, with this nice, almost completely vertical move happening towards the end of yesterday, November 5th, really solidifying most of this move towards the upside at, right as November 6th or today began. Also finding the support, this bounce here right along the upper bound of the, here you can see the 8-month, 9-month long descending broadening channel or wedge that Bitcoin has been in. Right now it's pushing 76K at its highest. 75.4 is about where it's sitting at its highest, which is a new all-time high for Bitcoin. I think that's only going to be locally though, because I personally think it's going to go way higher than it is right now. But before I further the technical updates of this video, I do want to talk about the election. And again, as I mentioned in the last video, my intention is to not politicize this and to really ruffle anybody's feathers, because like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, conservative, liberal. I don't label myself with any of those terms. I don't think it's conducive really to any degree. I'm just an individual self that has distinct cultural, socio-cultural and political views. But really the reason why this is important is because Donald Trump is the pro-Bitcoin cryptocurrency candidate, and Harris is the candidate that is unfriendly. Just like the last 4 years, the Democrats, such as Elizabeth Warren, have been unfriendly to cryptocurrency. Also, Gary Gensler, not a politician, but he is the chairperson of the SEC, which has a lot of influence on the regulations and the guidelines surrounding cryptocurrency in America, Bitcoin. But here you can see right now that it's not totally conclusive yet. Trump only has 267 electoral votes and Harris has 224, and they need 270 to win. But at this point, it's borderline impossible for Harris to win because there are only 6 states left. You have Maine, which is likely going to go blue at this point. It typically does anyways. Then you have Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska. Each of these states, these 5 states, have been red, have been dominated by Trump for the last 5 hours and longer. Right now it's pushing 5 o'clock in the morning if you're closer towards the eastern end of America. So I'd assume we'll be getting in the results from in Michigan, Wisconsin, so on and so forth soon. I mean, at this point, Harris literally needs to win all 6 of these in order to win. Even if she wins Maine, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, and Trump wins Alaska, he still wins. And in fact, Alaska has not voted Democrat in 60 years, so that's another reason to think, on top of the fact, like right now, Alaska's 56% Trump, 40% Kamala. So, I mean, that's the likelihood of that changing, especially because it's been 60 years since they voted Democrats, almost 0. So, I mean, like I said, it's not conclusive just yet, but I mean, unless there's some sort of election fraud that goes on, which, God forbid that happens, because it's... I don't want to get into that conversation, but at this point, it seems like the pro-crypto, the pro-Bitcoin candidate has won, which is really the main point. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because Harris was proposing taxation in terms of capital gains that would have reached rates so high that they haven't been seen since the 70s. She also was going to propose an unrealized capital gains tax, which that would have only applied to like the super wealthy people. So not to, most of you watching this video, myself included, but still, I mean, a tax on gains that you haven't even realized yet, I mean, that's totally absurd. I mean, the fact that the government can logically, morally, and ethically justify taxing somebody's individual and personal financial decisions at the end of the day is something I can't even wrap my mind around. I don't understand why that makes any sense, and I honestly, I never will. I don't understand why the government feels like reaching their hands into your pockets when you literally made that decision to invest and they had nothing to do with it. they literally have 0% to do with the fact that you just made $500,000 or more. Yet they might take like what, 10-20% of that. It's ridiculous. But anyways, just to sum all of that up, I mean, Trump here has also been giving a speech. Now, this is probably concluded at this point, but he did come out a few hours ago. Didn't necessarily claim victory. He was being a little bit reserved about it, but clearly, I mean, the sentiment is that he's won because, I mean, like I said, at this point, if all of these states end up turning blue, then there's going to be a big problem. But outside of that, moving into the technical analysis here again, like I said, the 6-hour chart looks very good. Daily chart here also looks very good. Bitcoin's volatility looks great, breaking above the uppermost resistance that I pointed out recently. The RSI is peeking its head back above the 618. As you can see here, 618 has held the price down ever since it started going sideways back in March of this year. Again, here still seeing basically the same thing. Just really need to further solidify trading above, really to round it up at this point, $73,000. If we look here at the 4-day chart, RSI down here still looks phenomenal, still moving upwards. If we look here at the price, we're getting a high volume vector candle right here, this white candle, which could be insinuating, and more likely than not, is insinuating that Bitcoin is really about to amp up its volatility, especially considering the result of the election. Now, I mean, whether or not Kamala won or Trump won, I still think the price would have been going up regardless. But given that the pro candidate or the Trump, or wow, I can't speak. It's like I said, it's pushing like 5 o'clock in the morning. So, but what I was trying to say was, given that Trump, the pro Bitcoin candidate, has won, obviously this is even better. On top of the fact that the elections have always been bullish since 2012 for Bitcoin. Looking at this weekly chart, also seeing the candle push further above horizontal resistance, because at this point, price-wise, horizontal resistance is the only thing holding Bitcoin down. Looking here at the RSI, like the 4-day, still breaking out, still going up here, further affirming a move towards the upside. Looking here at this weekly chart, Bitcoin here finally got the RSI above the black resistance. This is one of the final things that I've been waiting on and that I've been talking about that would further affirm Bitcoin moving here towards the upside. Again, also still just showing further movement above the price-based resistance. If we look here at this weekly chart, looking here at this RSI, the last thing I was mentioning here was to see the RSI move above this yellow median right here. That has been met. Again, further affirmation. If we zoom here and look at the descending resistance on this chart, this is using the traditional candlesticks. The other charts we're using the Heiken Ashes. But here we can see the descending resistance with respect to the candle closes right here. These two areas where Bitcoin closed the weekly candle above, went sideways for about 2 weeks, and then obviously recently has seen a nice move and bump up in price that will, best case scenario, continue upwards towards this region right up here that I was pointing out in the last video of around like 200K, give or take like $30,000. Looking here at this 2-weekly chart and looking here at the RSI, this is also one of the final things that Bitcoin needs to see happen in order to really start to move up here and push, 80K, 100K, and even higher. The RSI is getting very close to closing and moving above the median of the Bollinger Bands, as you can see here, which would flip this RSI trend totally bullish. And then also this 2-weekly chart's also showing, as you can clearly see here, price moving above the resistance horizontally here as well. And then again here, as I move into the last 2 charts, again, this is the election chart that I showed in the last video. You can clearly see going all the way back to the left side to 2012. Every single time you can see 2012, full throttle bull market, 2016, full throttle bull market, 2020 up to 64K, 2024, what's going to happen? More likely than not, the same thing's going to happen. I mean, it could totally change, but it's not more likely. I mean, I suppose if you're trying to look at this as unbiased as possible, and I wouldn't even say that it's necessarily that it's the election. It's literally the causal link here, or that's literally the causal impetus. I think it's kind of more so this coincidence that this happens to be lining up for the last, not 4 years, but the last 12 years or so. But lastly here is the 2-week chart that I've been going over. Actually, I haven't touched on this one in a while, but we can look here and see that the RSI with the Bollinger Bands here has finally moved above the median here. Again, this is not the same type of indicator as the other RSI of the Bollinger Bands. Obviously, they're the same indicator, but they're two different ones. Anyways, this right here is big, very big. To have seen just further showing the strength towards the upside here. Also, we can see if we zoom in here, the price is above the 1.618 solidly again. And then going all the way back to March of this year, I mean, Bitcoin has done nothing but trade sideways along the 1.618, along the golden ratio. It has done nothing but oscillate around that, which is just further affirmation that it's showing strength here, leading into another, and what I believe is the third and final move of this bull market. But the last thing I want to touch on here is really to kind of tie all this in, because this factors in the election indication, the fact that the pro-Bitcoin candidate has won, seems to have won at this point, makes the election even better in this case. But also looking here at the Fibonacci retracements, we look here at this first one right here, going all the way to June of 2011, then fast forwarding to November of 2013, Bitcoin hit around 12K, or $1,200 rather. You can see that the price hit this orange zone right here, so specifically around the 2.483 to the 2.319. This was phase 1 of cycle 2. Then this portion right here, this bear market right here, this bull market right here with this Fibonacci retracement, this is cycle 2 phase 2 of cycle 2. It also did the exact same thing, moved right up to the orange zone, specifically the 2.48 to the 2.319. And then we look here at this third and final one, with this bear market right here, then this bull market to 64K, then this bear market right here, and then current bull market we've been seeing. This right here is phase 1 of cycle 3. This is synonymous, structurally speaking, to this phase 1 of cycle 2 back here. And I've gone over this more elaborately in past videos, but the reason why they look different is because Bitcoin matures, as Bitcoin ages, it's getting older. It's like it's in a drunken stagger. It takes longer to do what it does. It takes longer for the cycles and the phases to carry out, and that's why the Bitcoin bull markets are less bullish and the Bitcoin bear markets are less bearish. It's because it's literally just, it's getting older and it's just not as strong as it was when it was younger. But anyways, if this happens again, as it has happened since 2012, since 2011 really, then Bitcoin is going to, like I said earlier, move anywhere upwards towards 200 to 230K, perhaps even as low as 180K, but I think 200 to 230K is quite reasonable and quite logically valid for many reasons. But as I said, this is all that I wanted to touch on and talk about in this video. So as always, none of this is meant to be financial advice. But all that being said and everything gone over, I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have a wonderful day.
Ooh, I'm regretting now, won't I see you forever, such a long